So from time to time, you are likely to come across what we call benchmark rates. Things like the prime rate of interest, or JIBOR, or LIBOR, etc., etc., and so forth. These are what we call benchmark rates. Now, in South Africa, the prime rate of interest is simply the official interest rate of the commercial banks. They state that as a base rate upon which they price your particular product on. Remember, it's a base rate. So prime might be, for instance, 11%, but a company comes in with a great credit record. They might end up in a situation where they borrow money, they get prime minus 50 basis points or 0.5%, or they might get prime minus 1%. On the other hand, another company with a very, very poor credit record gets a rate of prime plus 5%. It is simply a base rate by which the banks use to price products on. Now, LIBOR and JIBOR are very, very similar. JIBOR is simply the Johannesburg Interbank Acceptance Rate. It's the rate at which banks lend money to each other. So you might find, for instance, Standard Bank is short of money one day. First National Bank has got excess liquidity. Standard Bank needs 1 billion. They borrow the 1 billion from FNB. That is the Johannesburg Interbank Acceptance Rate. Now, some loan products are priced based on JIBOR because you can get a quotation for JIBOR every single day, as opposed to the prime rate of interest, which only fluctuates potentially every 2 months when the South African Reserve Bank meets. You may also come across something called LIBOR, the London Interbank Offer Rate. It's very, very similar to JIBOR. It's the interest rate at which banks are lending to each other in London. You just have to be very, very careful with LIBOR because you get LIBOR for different currencies. London is an international financial center, so you may get LIBOR for, let's say, pound sterling, for euro, for yen, for US dollars, etc., etc., all the major international currencies. So these are what we call base rates or benchmark rates. Remember, when you come to do a discount rate for a specific project, the rate must be adjusted to factor into account issues such as risk and the user's required rate of return. Be aware of these base rates in the back of your mind, but you will have to deduce, you will have to deduct a discount rate that adjusts these base rates to take into account the risks related to the project.